Donaldson Room. As a county board member, it's not just about policy discussions, but it's the application of the policy where often folks in the community disagree. So, with that in mind, if you're on the county board today, would you vote for or against the proposed affordable housing plan? And please cite a specific component of the plan as the basis for that decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, I would vote against the affordable housing plan. And the reason I would vote against the affordable housing plan is because we talked about public land for public good in this body last year. You know, there's 3 or more competing interests in this county. There's schools, there's parks, and there's affordable housing. What the county is doing with this is betting the farm on affordable housing without having the budget, the ability to fund that into the future of building 15,000 new units over the next 25 years. That's just wrong. I believe that these components of parks, schools, and affordable housing all must be maintained at the central level so that we gain consensus in the community, because each one of these pieces is an important part of being a part of Arlington. It also is an important piece of having us attract business into the county. So the Affordable Housing Master Plan puts too much emphasis, I believe, and we don't know what the future looks like in terms of our tax base. We have a dwindling tax base at this right now because of the loss of business in the county. And we're betting everything on affordable housing when we have the school crisis, and we need to build more schools and deal with the overcrowding issue with 800 more students coming into the county. So it's all about priorities. And that's not the #1 priority right now for me. Thank you.
Peter, thank you for your question and your leadership. So, like the Civic Federation, I would support the Affordable Housing Master Plan if I were sitting on the county board in this month's deliberations. As I mentioned in my opening statement, I believe that the status quo in Arlington is in fact hostile to the middle class, to the retirees who are hoping to stay here, to the next generation of teachers, firefighters, and young families. I don't think that the Affordable Housing Master Plan is perfect. I have seen it evolve and I've seen it improve. For example, a number of my neighbors in South Arlington have advocated for strategies that will add greater teeth to geographic distribution, which I think is an important principle and something that we need to have real strategies to pursue here in Arlington. But one of the main reasons I would support the Affordable Housing Master Plan is the emphasis on a wider diversity of ownership housing, the accessory dwelling units, for example. And so when I hear wholesale opposition to the Affordable Housing Master Plan, I have to assume one of 2 things. Either these opponents are sitting on some excellent strategies to address the fact that everyone below $200,000 a year in household income is struggling to make it and stay in Arlington, or they're okay with the long run where Arlington is exclusively for the ultra-wealthy. I am in Arlington for the long run. I'm planning to be here for the long run. That's not the long run vision of which I want to be a part. I believe that diversity is good for our communities, it's good for our ability to attract businesses, and it's good for Arlington's long run sustainable future. And that's why I would support the plan.
It should be obvious to you from my opening remarks that I strongly oppose the so-called Affordable Housing Master Plan for 2 principal reasons. 1, the plan is premised on the assumption that densification will in fact result in more affordable housing. And counterintuitive as this may seem, that is not the case. The fact is that Arlington has been densifying intensely since the year 2000. And in that period of time, we've lost 13,000 units of affordable housing. We have constructed only 7,000 units of committed affordable housing in that time. So it is very clear that whatever our goals are, further densification is not going to further them. The second element is cost. Now this is a landmine because the county itself, in its plan, has refused to reveal the cost of the plan. In other words, it wants us to buy the plan first and then discuss how to pay for it. And I think this is unfair to the citizens of the county. My cost estimate, which is predicated on some numbers done by some members of the Civic R&E committee, indicate that the cost will probably exceed $92 million per year. This is excessive. This is something that will bankrupt the county. This is a price that will in fact force people who can currently afford their housing out of the county. This is totally counterproductive. Thank you.
Mr. Crystal, will you please hold your applause until the end, Mr. Crystal?
So I support the Affordable Housing Master Plan without equivocation. And it seems to be a lot of misunderstanding about what exactly the plan contains, who the plan is for, and how you actually implement it. And those are all very important distinctions that must be made. First, the Affordable Housing Master Plan is not just about committed affordable housing units for lower income workers, a critically important thing, but it also addresses the rising affordability gap that we have with other segments of our population, our retirees, our young professionals, key to Arlington's sustainability. Secondly, there's a lot of misperception about the cost thereof, people who've done back-of-the-envelope calculations and assuming that this all must be paid for from tax dollars. Nowhere does the plan presume that. In fact, the implementation to come later is something that you actively have to guide and manage to make sure that it is affordable, sustainable, and does what affordable housing is designed to do. And this is critically important, to provide the necessary return to our community. It is very clear from my work as a macroeconomic policy expert that when you have people who are able to live affordably, they then have income that can be spent in your community, at your businesses, in other ways that promote growth in your community. If people are over housing burden, devoting so much of their resources to housing that they are unable to participate economically in those other ways, you undercut the vitality of the rest of your economy. So for those reasons, I support the plan, and I'm going to be carefully working to guide its implementation.
Sir, your time is up. Mr. Gurney?